Last time on Say Less I Love You.
Whatever this is, we'll handle it. We always do.
I'm trying to protect this family, but if you want to parade around with security theater and paint targets on your backs, be my guest.
No one goes anywhere alone until we figure out who's behind this.
Whatever you're thinking of doing, I want in.
I can't believe we're doing a double date. Alexander picked the perfect restaurant.
There's something you should know.
Why tell me now?
When I come back, we can finally be together. For real this time.
This is because of what I did, isn't it, William?
Nyla Thomas thought she was getting a simple fake marriage.
If I marry you, will you save my granddaddy?
Yes. All you have to do is say, I do.
But things got a lot more complicated than a simple wedding.
Neuromax isn't working. Your grandfather won't survive.
You were supposed to marry me, Jacob.
And Nyla has been met with the ultimate consequences.
He took all of her money and left.
How am I going to pay my bills?
We aren't sure what happened to him, but it doesn't look good for Mr. Stone.
While love is struggling to find its place, it's time to find out.
Alexander, no, it won't work.
There's a lot you don't know about me, Laurie.
I still love you. I always have.
If Nyla can pick up the pieces of the Stone Empire.
Chapter 2, 185. Jacob. I jolt awake to my phone's shrill ring, the pre-dawn darkness still thick around me. Detective Morrison's grave voice delivers the news that shatters my world. My parents are dead, their car found wrapped around a tree off the Hamptons highway. No, that's impossible. My voice comes out raspy as I grip the phone tighter. They had security with them. Professional security. Detective Morrison sighs heavily on the other end. We lost contact with the security detail about 10 minutes before the accident. We haven't located them yet. The room spins as I pace across the hardwood floors. What about James? He's been our driver for 15 years. He wouldn't just... I'm sorry, Mr. Stone. James didn't make it either. My free hand clenches into a fist. Was he drinking? Falling asleep at the wheel? We'll need to conduct autopsies to determine the exact cause, Morrison says carefully. But right now we need you to come identify the bodies. The word bodies hits me like a physical blow. I sink onto the edge of the bed, the sheet still rumpled from where Nyla lay just hours ago. This isn't right, I insist, my voice cracking. There must be some mistake. I understand this is difficult, sir, but we need you to come to the morgue as soon as possible. The phone slips from my numb fingers, clattering to the floor. The pre-dawn darkness presses in around me as reality crashes down. My parents are gone, and something about this feels very, very wrong. Standing at my floor-to-ceiling windows, I watch the city slowly illuminate with morning light. The world continues its rhythms, oblivious to how mine has just imploded. They can't be gone, I whisper to my reflection, hoping saying it aloud will make it less real. But the detective's words echo in my head. No survivors. Investigating the circumstances. I grab my phone again, needing to hear a friendly voice. Derek, I need you to handle the hospital board meeting today. My parents... My voice cracks. There's been an accident. Jesus, Jacob, I'm so sorry. Derek's shock mirrors my own. Of course, I'll take care of everything. Do you want me to come over? No, I need to get to the Hamptons. The police have questions. Questions I'm not ready to face, about why my parents were fleeing to our beach house in the middle of the night. I sink into my leather armchair, memories washing over me. Mom's proud smile at my business school graduation, Dad teaching me to sail, their strained faces during recent arguments about the company's direction. Our relationship was complicated, fractured by business conflicts and my choices. But they were still my parents. And now they're gone, leaving a chasm of unresolved issues that can never be bridged. I grab my phone, dialing Nyla's number for the third time. Again, straight to voicemail. The cheerful tone of her recorded message feels like a knife twisting in my gut. Nyla, please call me when you get this. It's important. My voice cracked slightly on the last word. Pacing across my living room, I try Julia's number next. She picks up on the first ring. Jake? Her voice is thick with tears. I just saw the news alert about Mom and Dad. I know, Jules. I'm so sorry. I rake my fingers through my hair, wishing I could shield her from this pain. Are you alone? Yeah, I'm at my place. She sniffles. Come over. We shouldn't be by ourselves right now. I'll grab an Uber. Julia pauses. Jake, do you think it was really an accident? The question I've been avoiding settles like lead in my stomach. We'll figure it out together, okay? Just get here safe. Okay. Love you, big brother. Love you too, Jules. I end the call and try Nyla's number one more time. Still nothing. She must be sleeping deeply after our emotional night together. But I need her here. Need her steady presence as my world crumbles around me. The sun continues its relentless rise outside my windows as I wait for Julia, each minute stretching like an eternity. Our parents are gone, and nothing will ever be the same. I open my door to find my sister, her mascara streaked down her cheeks and her shoulders shaking with barely contained sobs. Without a word, she collapses into my arms, her small frame racked with grief. I can't believe they're gone, she whispers into my shirt. I keep thinking Mom's gonna call and yell at me about my getting a better job. I guide her to the couch, keeping an arm around her shoulders. Did you eat anything? She shakes her head. I threw up when I saw the news alert. Let me make you some tea at least. I start to stand, but she clutches my sleeve. Don't leave me alone right now. Please. I sink back down, pulling her close as fresh tears spill down her cheeks. Remember that time Dad tried to teach us both sailing? I say softly, and Mom kept backseat driving from the dock until he nearly crashed into the pier? A wet laugh escapes Julia. She was so mad. But then Dad bought her that ridiculous captain's hat to make up for it. She wore it to every beach trip after that just to spite him. Julia's eyes drift closed as she leans against my shoulder. I should have visited more instead of avoiding their calls, she mumbles. Now I'll never. Her voice trails off as exhaustion finally claims her. I grab the throw blanket from the back of the couch and tuck it around her, my heart aching at how young and vulnerable she looks in sleep. I'll find who did this, I whisper, though she can't hear me. I promise. Suddenly my phone vibrates and Nyla's name lights up the screen. Relief floods through me as I answer. Jacob, I'm so sorry. I put my phone on silent to catch up on sleep after... They're dead. The words tumble out before I can soften them. My parents... There was an accident on the way to the Hamptons. Silence stretches across the line. Then, oh my God, when? Early this morning, their car went off the road. My voice catches. The police want me to identify. I'm coming over right now, Nyla says firmly. Don't move. Julia's here too. Good. You shouldn't be alone. Keys jingle in the background. I'm getting in my car. Keep talking to me. I sink onto the couch, phone pressed to my ear like a lifeline. I can't believe this is happening. Yesterday we were arguing about the company, and now... I know, baby. Her voice is gentle. Just breathe. I'll be there in 10 minutes. The security detail vanished before it happened. The driver, too. What, that's not... Yeah, something's not right about any of this. We'll figure it out together, Nyla says with quiet determination. I'm pulling up now. Coming to you. I end the call and stare unseeing at the city beyond my windows. Minutes later, rapid footsteps approach and Nyla bursts through my door, immediately wrapping me in her arms. I bury my face in her neck, finally letting the tears fall.
Chapter 2, 186. Nyla. I hold Jacob tightly as his body shakes with sobs, his tears soaking into my silk blouse. The morning sunlight streams through the windows, casting harsh shadows across his anguished face. I've never seen him so broken, not even during the darkest days of his poisoning. I just saw them yesterday, he chokes out against my shoulder. Mom was being her usual self, criticizing everything. Shh, I know. I stroke his hair, fighting back my own tears. The irony of comforting him over Hilda's death isn't lost on me. Just days ago, I was ready to destroy her reputation. Now she's gone, taking all possibility of reconciliation with her. Julia stirs on the couch, her face puffy from crying. The police want us to come identify. She can't finish the sentence. I'll drive you both, I offer immediately. You shouldn't have to do this alone. Jacob pulls back slightly, his eyes red-rimmed but grateful. Thank you, he whispers hoarsely. For everything. The weight of guilt settles in my chest. Sure, Hilda and I had our differences, massive, ugly differences, but I never wanted this. To lose both parents in one cruel stroke. No one deserves that pain. I squeeze Jacob's hand as fresh tears spill down his cheeks. Let it out, I murmur. I'm right here. He clutches me tighter, as if I'm the only thing keeping him anchored in this nightmare. I press my lips to his temple, wishing I could absorb even a fraction of his grief. I whisk eggs in Jacob's gleaming kitchen, the morning sun making my eyes squint in the brightness. The rhythmic scraping of the whisk against the bowl fills the heavy silence. Coffee's ready? I call out, keeping my voice deliberately light despite the weight in my chest. Julia shuffles in first, her eyes puffy and red. I slide a steaming mug across the counter to her, along with a plate of fluffy scrambled eggs and crispy bacon. Thanks, she mumbles, picking at the food listlessly. Jacob appears moments later, his usual confident stride, replaced by something more hesitant. He pauses in the doorway, watching me work. Where'd you disappear to last night? He asks quietly. I pour him coffee, buying time to steady my voice. Went back to my place. Thought we should take things slow, you know. Didn't want to pressure you by staying over. He takes a long sip of coffee, studying me over the rim. You could have woken me up to say goodbye. I know, I'm sorry. I played his breakfast, sliding it in front of him. I just wasn't sure where we stood. Jacob's hand catches mine as I turn away. We stand together, he says firmly, especially now. I squeeze his fingers, relief washing through me. Eat up, we should get going soon. He releases my hand reluctantly and picks up his fork. The kitchen falls quiet except for the soft clink of silverware against plates as we prepare to face the difficult day ahead. I grip the steering wheel tighter as we drive down the winding road to the Hamptons, my knuckles white against the black leather. The same route Hilda and William took just yesterday. Their last journey. The winding road stretches ahead, lined with pristine hedges and manicured lawns typical of the Hamptons. Then we round a bend, and we all see it at the same time. Deep tire tracks cut ugly black scars across the perfectly maintained grass. The guardrail is mangled, twisted metal gleaming in the morning sun. Yellow police tape flutters in the breeze, marking off where William and Hilda's car must have gone through. Stop the car, Jacob commands suddenly, his voice tight with barely contained rage. I pull over onto the shoulder, gravel crunching under the tires. Jacob jumps out before we've fully stopped, pacing along the roadside where fresh skid marks mar the asphalt. Oh God, Julia chokes out. She fumbles with her seatbelt, stumbling out of the car. Jacob sits frozen, staring at the destruction. His jaw works silently as he takes in the scene where his parents spent their final moments. "Those skid marks," he says hoarsely. "They must have tried to stop." I reach for his arm, but he shrugs me off, getting out to join Julia. They stand together at the edge of the road, looking down the steep embankment their parents' car tumbled down. The grass is torn up, branches snapped. Though the wreckage is gone, the violence of what happened here is written in every broken piece. "This wasn't an accident," he spits out, running his hands through his hair. Julia hugs herself, her voice trembling. "You think the Sokolov family did this? Who else?" Jacob kicks a loose stone, sending it flying. "First, they poisoned me. Now this? They're sending a message." My stomach twists into knots as I watch Jacob examine the crash site. The guilt threatens to choke me. If I hadn't defied Marcus and Ivan, his parents might still be alive. "This is my fault," I whisper, wrapping my arms around myself against the morning chill. They're retaliating because I stood up to them. Jacob turns to me, his eyes blazing. "That doesn't make any sense. Why would they kill my parents to get back at you? Mom was hardly your biggest supporter." "Then why?" I ask, my voice cracking. "They're sending me a message." Jacob kicks another stone, harder this time. "The poison might be gone, but they still own me, own the hospital." His hands clench into fists at his sides. "We should let the police handle this," I say, but the determined set of his jaw tells me everything I need to know. "Jacob, please." "The police?" He laughs bitterly. "They won't find anything. The Sokolovs are too good at covering their tracks." "What are you planning?" I step closer, touching his arm. His muscles tense under my fingers. "Whatever it takes to end this, once and for all." "Jacob," I trail off, seeing the steel in his eyes. Nothing I say will change his mind. The carefree man I fell in love with has been replaced by someone harder, someone dangerous. Julia stands a few feet away, hugging herself. Should we go identify them now?" Jacob nods curtly, but his gaze remains fixed on the mangled guardrail. I can practically see the revenge plots forming behind those stormy eyes. I squeeze his arm gently. "We'll figure this out together, okay?" He covers my hand with his but says nothing. The silence speaks volumes. "This is it, baby. This is what you can get me that'll make me happy."
You know I'll get you whatever you want. All you need to do is ask me and I'll give it to you.
"This ain't just it. This is everything I could ever want."
Now I'm curious. What does a strong, sassy woman like yourself want so badly?
"Baby, you know what I want?
I can't wait to hear.
The Big Baddie bundle from Nyla Walker. It has everything I need.
20 ebooks with over 1 million words of sassy romance and spice that'll keep you on your toes.
10 audiobooks containing over 60 hours of that seductive voice telling me naughty things all night long.
You don't need an audiobook for that, baby. Right here.
You may be fine and all, but no one tells it like the way Miss Nyla does. And I need her in my life.
The Big Baddie bundle is everything you need. You can get it for 80% off.
Go to TylaWalker.com to browse the bundles that earn you the best deals.
It's time you treat yourself. Because you deserve it.
Escape your life with Miss Nyla.
Chapter 287. Jacob. The morgue's harsh fluorescent lights cast sickly shadows across my parents' faces. Julia's hand trembles in mine as we confirm their identities. My throat constricts, seeing Mom's perfectly coiffed hair now matted with blood, Dad's distinguished features distorted by impact. Back home, I pour 3 fingers of scotch and stare unseeing through my office window. The city sprawls below, oblivious to how my world has imploded. "Jacob," Nyla's soft voice breaks through my fog. "Please talk to me." There's nothing to say. My words come out harsher than intended. The scotch burns going down, but doesn't numb the pain. I know you're hurting. You don't know anything, I snap, instantly regretting my tone when hurt flashes across her face. But I can't deal with comfort right now, not when rage and grief war inside me. My phone buzzes. Derek texting about the will reading tomorrow. Perfect. More crap to handle. The next day, we gather in Derek's office. Julia fidgets beside me while Derek breaks the seal on the envelope. To my daughter, Julia, Derek reads. I leave my board seat and voting rights, effective immediately. Julia gasps. Mom's seat? But I'm not ready. And regarding William Stone's board position, Derek continues. It shall remain unassigned pending the mutual agreement of his children, Jacob and Julia Stone. What the hell, Dad? I mutter. Even in death, he's making things complicated. There are additional provisions. Derek starts. Save it. I cut him off, standing abruptly. I need air. I stride out, leaving Julia calling after me. But I can't face more revelations right now. Not when my parents' killers still walk free. I stare out at the city lights from my penthouse balcony, letting the night air numb my skin. The sound of heels clicking on marble tells me Julia's found me. The board needs direction, Jake. We can't just... Screw the board. The whiskey burns my throat. Our parents were murdered, and you want to talk about quarterly projections? Of course not, but Mom's seat. You're so young, Julia, you shouldn't have to deal with any of this. My knuckles whiten around the glass. Go party. Live your life. She steps closer, her voice soft but firm. I'm not going anywhere. The company needs us both right now. The company? I bark out a harsh laugh. The company's what got them killed. You don't know that, don't I? I turn to face her, anger pulsing through my veins. First they poison me. Then our parents die in a suspicious crash. Connect the damn dots. Then help me figure this out. Julia's eyes shine with unshed tears. Please don't shut me out. We're all we have left. I need to handle this my way. I drain my glass and head inside, ignoring her plea to wait. Running away won't bring them back, she calls after me. No, I mutter, grabbing my keys. But making someone pay might help. The elevator doors close on Julia's worried face. I can't deal with her concern right now. Not when revenge is the only thing keeping me sane. I push open the heavy oak doors of the manor, the familiar scent of Mom's jasmine perfume hitting me like a punch to the gut. My footsteps echo through the empty halls as I make my way to Dad's study. Damn it, I mutter, seeing his reading glasses still perched on the desk where he left them. A half-finished crossword puzzle sits beside them, pencil marks in his precise handwriting. The family photos lining the walls mock me as I pass. Graduations, holidays, moments frozen in time when we were whole. I grab a few frames, unable to look at them for long. In Mom's sitting room, her favorite shawl drapes over the armchair. The fabric still holds her scent as I carefully fold it into my bag. My throat tightens at the sight of her needlework, the pattern eternally unfinished. Mr. Stone? Our housekeeper Maria appears in the doorway. I didn't expect anyone today. Just collecting some things. My voice comes out rougher than intended. The rest can wait. There's fresh coffee in the kitchen if you'd like. Her kind eyes hold too much sympathy. I shake my head. Thanks, but I should go. I hesitate, then grab Mom's photo album from the shelf. Julia might want it. In Dad's study again, I retrieve his prized fountain pen and the watch Grandpa gave him. The familiar ticking seems deafening in the silence. My hand brushes a stack of papers, notes for the hospital's upcoming charity gala. Dad's last project. The words blur as I shove them in my bag. Mr. Jacob, Maria calls from downstairs. Should I prepare your old room? No need. I can't stay here surrounded by ghosts. I'm done. The front door closes behind me with a final sounding thud. In my car, I grip the steering wheel until my knuckles turn white, the bag of memories sitting heavy beside me. I flip through old photos spread across my desk, each one a punch to the gut. Mom beaming as she helps me with my first tie. Dad teaching me to drive his prized Bentley. Family trips to the vineyard where they'd let Julia and me stomp grapes. The door creaks open and Nyla enters carrying a tray. I made your favorite, grilled cheese with bacon. The comfort food's aroma fills my office, but my stomach turns. Thanks, just said it there. I don't look up from a Christmas photo where Dad hoists a giggling Julia onto his shoulders. You should eat something. Nyla's voice carries that nurse's authority I usually find endearing. Today it just grates. Later. I shuffle through more memories. Mom's infamous themed dinner parties, Dad's proud smile at my boarding school graduation. They weren't perfect parents, but they tried their damnedest to give us everything. Julia appears in the doorway, her eyes red-rimmed. The funeral home needs to know about the music selections. I grunt noncommittally, focused on a shot of Mom adjusting my tie before prom. Even then, everything had to be perfect for the Stone family image. Jake? Julia presses. They need an answer today. Handle it. The words come out clipped. I can't deal with funeral playlists right now. Nyla touches my shoulder gently. Why don't we take a break? Get some fresh air? I need to finish this slideshow. I shrug off her hand, immediately missing its warmth, but I can't let myself be comforted. Not yet. If I let this rage go, then I'll have nothing left but grief. And I'm much better at dealing with rage. Julia lingers uncertainly in the doorway while Nyla's untouched sandwich grows cold. I keep sifting through photographs, lost in memories of the complicated but loving people who raised me. The parents I failed to protect.
Chapter 2, 188. Nyla. I stare at the untouched grilled cheese on Jacob's coffee table, my heart aching. The bread has gone cold and stiff, just like the wall he's built around himself since William and Hilda's deaths. Empty whiskey bottles litter the floor, around the couch where he's been sleeping. Jacob, I call out softly, you need to eat something. A grunt comes from his home office. At least he's conscious. I peek in to find him hunched over his laptop, surrounded by police reports and newspaper clippings about the crash. I made you lunch, I say, hovering in the doorway. And I have to head to the board meeting soon. Uh-huh, he mutters without looking up. His voice is rough from lack of sleep. All I want to do is wrap him in my arms. But he's gone from sad to emotionless. I want to give him space to grieve, but I only wish we had more time together before it happened. He had just come back to me, and now he is gone again. The board meeting reminder chimes on my phone. I have to go, but leaving him alone in this state tears me apart. I'll be back after the meeting, I promise. Please try to eat something. He's already turned back to his laptop, lost again in his desperate investigation. I linger a moment longer, then force myself to walk away. He needs time to grieve, I remind myself. I just pray he doesn't completely lose himself in the process. I shift uncomfortably in my chair as the board members file into the conference room. The empty seats where Hilda and William once sat feel like gaping wounds. Julia takes her mother's place, her shoulders squared with determination despite her youth. First order of business, Derek announces, shuffling through his papers. We need to address the CEO vacancy. It's been weeks since Jacob's absence. I clear my throat. He just needs more time to grieve. The circumstances of William and Hilda's deaths. With all due respect, Caroline interrupts, the hospital can't operate indefinitely without leadership. If Jacob isn't returning, we need alternatives. What about Julia? Someone suggests. She's a stone after all. Julia's eyes widen, Oh God, no, I'm barely getting my feet wet with this board position. I couldn't possibly. Then we need someone who understands both the medical and business sides, Julia continues, her voice growing stronger. Someone who's proven themselves capable of handling crisis. She turns to me. I nominate Nyla Thomas. The room falls silent. I stare at Julia in shock. She saved Neuromax. Julia presses on. She has medical expertise as a nurse, plus business acumen from managing the recent launch, and she clearly cares about this hospital's future. But she's so young, Caroline protests, and with no executive experience. So was my brother when he took over, Julia counters. Sometimes a fresh perspective is exactly what we need. I find my voice at last. Julia, I appreciate the vote of confidence, but... All in favor? Julia asks, raising her hand. Slowly, other hands join hers around the table. I stare at the raised hands around the boardroom table, my heart hammering against my ribs. This is unexpected. Julia bounces in her seat. You're perfect for this. Who else understands both the medical and business sides so well? But after everything with Neuromax, that's exactly why. Derek cuts in. You saved us from a PR nightmare. You've proven yourself. I drum my fingers on the polished table. What about Jacob? He needs time, Julia says softly. And the hospital needs leadership now. We can make it interim if you prefer, Caroline suggests. A trial period. Running my hands over my face, I take a deep breath. Okay, yes, I accept. Julia squeals and hugs me tight. I'll help you every step of the way. Over the next few days, Julia proves invaluable. She stays late helping me navigate financial reports, offering insights into hospital politics I never knew existed. Mom would hate this, Julia laughs one night as we share takeout in my new office. You in her precious boardroom, me actually enjoying corporate work. You're a natural at this, I tell her. Who knew the Rebel Stone would turn out to be such a business whiz? Please, I just translate your medical jargon into board speak. She steals one of my spring rolls. We make a good team. I smile, grateful for her friendship. That we do. Now about these quarterly projections. Julia pulls out another stack of papers, and we dive back in, our easy rapport making the overwhelming task feel manageable. I pace in my new office, the weight of responsibility pressing down on my shoulders. The view of the city through the floor-to-ceiling windows does nothing to calm my nerves. You're going to wear a hole in that expensive carpet, Derek says from the doorway. I shouldn't have accepted this position. I stop pacing and face him. What if everyone thinks I orchestrated this whole thing, that I've been plotting to take over since day one? Come on, Nyla. You've proven yourself time and time again. And now I'm sitting in the CEO's chair while Jacob's grieving his parents. My stomach churns. It looks terrible. The board voted unanimously because Julia pushed for it. I sink into the leather chair. This isn't what I wanted. I was happy just being on the board, advocating for patients. Derek leans against the desk. Then why'd you say yes? Because, I trail off, remembering Julia's hopeful face. Because they needed someone, and I thought I could help. But now what? Now it feels like I'm taking advantage of tragedy. Like I'm proving Hilda right about me being an opportunist. I stand up again, unable to sit still. What if Jacob sees it that way too? Derek sighs. You can't control how others interpret your actions, but I know your heart's in the right place. Is it? I stare out at the city below. Sometimes I'm not so sure anymore. I thought I was getting a fake marriage, but I didn't know my story was being told by Miss Tyler.
This isn't just any fake marriage, now is it?
No, you introduced me to the devil.
Come on, girl, Jacob isn't that bad.
Oh, I love Jacob. His family, on the other hand?
Beggars can't be choosers, Nyla. You should be grateful I even let Jacob Stone look your way.
I just wanted to save my granddaddy. Is that so bad? Why couldn't you let this be a normal fake marriage? Instead, you put me in a twisty story filled with money, betrayal, power, and lies.
Let's not forget love.
That's what keeps me going. But not gonna lie, Miss Tyler. This story you got me in ain't the simple fake marriage, happy ending I thought it would be.
It's not. Because where would be the fun in that?
Treat yourself to Say Less I Love You. Tuesdays and Thursdays. New seasons premiere every month. Or skip the wait and grab the full series bundle from TylerWalker.com. Treat yourself with Miss Tyler.
Chapter 289. Alexander. The heavy oak door of my office slams against the wall as Jacob storms in, his eyes blazing with barely contained rage. My secretary's protests fade into silence behind him.
Your family murdered my parents. Jacob snarls, planting his hands on my pristine desk. And you're just sitting here in your fancy suit like nothing happened. I lean back in my leather chair, maintaining my composure. Oh, you don't know that for certain.
Cut the crap, Alexander. The black car, the surveillance photos, it all points to your people.
What do you expect me to do?
I spread my hands. I told you, I need time.
Time?
Jacob's laugh is harsh. You've had months to help dismantle this organization from within. Instead, you play both sides while innocent people die.
My jaw tightens. It's not that simple. These are dangerous people.
I don't give a damn anymore. Jacob's voice drops dangerously low. Either you help me take them down, or we become enemies. Your choice.
I rise slowly, meeting his furious gaze. You're asking me to sign my own death warrant. And you're forcing me to watch murderers walk free. Jacob's hands clench into fists. My parents are dead. Do you understand how that feels? How humiliating it is to know their killers are out there living their lives? His words strike a nerve. I think of Lori, of the person I want to be for her. But betraying the family means certain death. There's no walking away from this life.
I need more time, I say finally.
No, that's always your excuse. Well, now you've run out of time. Jacob straightens, disappointment and disgust written across his face. I thought you were better than this. I guess I was wrong. He turns to leave, but pauses at the door. You have until tomorrow to decide whose side you're really on. After that, we're done. The door closes behind him with crushing finality, leaving me alone with my conscience and an impossible choice. I slump back in my chair after Jacob leaves, the weight of his ultimatum pressing down on my shoulders. The door opens again, and Lori steps in, her face etched with concern.
I heard everything, she says, moving to perch on the edge of my desk. This has to stop, Alexander. You know I can't just walk away. I loosen my tie, suddenly feeling suffocated. The family just murdered 2 people in cold blood. Their violence isn't just theoretical anymore. It's in our backyard. Her voice trembles. What happens when Jacob pushes too far? When they decide he's a liability?
Even though I know she's right, I can't help but feel my blood start to heat. You act like I'm the one pulling the trigger. She looks me dead in the eye,
No, but you're not stopping it either, which is almost worse. Those words are the hardest punch to the gut I've ever received. I stand and pace to the window, watching the city bustle below. They'd hunt me down. There's no escaping this life. Look at me. Lori's tone carries steel beneath its softness. When I turn, her eyes bore into mine. I've watched good people die in my ER. I've held their loved ones as they grieved. I won't do that with you. Lori? No. She steps closer, placing a hand on my chest. I see the man you really are, beneath all this. But if you keep enabling their violence, that man disappears forever. My heart pounds against her palm. The truth in her words strips away my carefully constructed defenses. I want out, I admit quietly. But I need time to plan, to make sure we're protected. Then plan. Lori's fingers curl into my shirt. But promise me you'll try. Really try. I pull her close, breathing in her familiar scent. I promise. The words feel like both a liberation and a death sentence. I hold Lori close, breathing in the comforting scent of her shampoo, but my mind races with calculations. Every exit strategy I've ever conceived comes with devastating risks. The family doesn't let people walk away. They make examples of them. You understand what this means? I pull back to study her face. They'll come after both of us. Everything I do from here puts you in danger. Then let them come. Lori's jaw sets with that stubborn determination I've come to adore. I took an oath to do no harm. Standing by while they murder innocent people, that's harm. Baby, it's not that simple. It is that simple. She cuts me off, pressing a finger to my lips. You think I haven't seen violence in the ER? Haven't watched good people die senseless deaths? This is different only in scale. My chest tightens. They'll use you to control me, to punish me. I'm already involved. Lori's hands frame my face, forcing me to meet her unwavering gaze. The moment I fell in love with you, I accepted those risks. I won't let fear stop us from doing what's right. Damn. I rest my forehead against hers, overwhelmed by her courage. How'd I get lucky enough to find someone like you? You didn't find me. I found you. She smiles softly. Now stop stalling and start planning our exit strategy. I kiss her temple, already mapping contingencies in my head. There is only one way to both stop the violence and save my life and the life of the woman I love. It's what Jacob has been trying to convince me to do for a very long time. Oust Ivan as leader of the family. But I have no idea how to do it. And if I do it wrong, well, there will be no second chances. But for the first time, I feel truly ready to risk everything. For her, for us, for the chance to become the man she believes I can be.
Chapter 290. Jacob. I pace anxiously in my penthouse as Detective Morrison examines the photos spread across my coffee table. The early morning sun streams through the windows, providing harsh spotlights for the crash scene images. The skid marks tell us everything, Morrison says, tapping one particular photo. Your parents' car was deliberately forced off the road. This wasn't an accident. My jaw clenches. I knew it. Those bastards murdered them. We had our suspicions, but we had to be sure, Morrison says sympathetically. I stare at the gruesome images. I cannot fathom what it must have been like for them. The brake lines were also tampered with, Morrison continues, his voice steady and professional. Unfortunately, the car was so thoroughly destroyed on impact that gathering conclusive forensic evidence is challenging. How challenging? I demand, my hands balling into fists. Morrison sighs, running a hand through his graying hair. The vehicle basically disintegrated. We're talking about piecing together microscopic fragments. It could take weeks, maybe months to build a solid case. Months? The word tastes bitter in my mouth. They'll be long gone by then. Mr. Stone, I understand your frustration, but we need to follow proper procedure. Proper procedure? I laugh harshly. While you follow procedure, the people who killed my parents are walking free. We're doing everything we can, Morrison insists. The forensics team is working around the clock. I turn to stare out the window, my reflection a hard mask in the glass. Not good enough. Don't do anything rash, Morrison warns. Let us handle this. I stare at Morrison, making sure he hears me. The timing, the execution, it all screams professional hit. Who else could pull this off? Morrison shuffles through more crash photos. We can't rule out other possibilities yet. The Sokolovs aren't the only group capable of vehicular homicide. Like who? I slam my palm on his desk. Name one other person with motive and means. That's what we're exploring. Morrison leans back, studying me. Is there anyone who stood to gain from their deaths? Business rivals? Disgruntled employees? I can't help but laugh, the sound harsh and bitter in the Stark office. Detective, if we're talking about enemies, my mother had a special talent for creating them. Half of Manhattan probably wanted to throttle her at some point. Morrison leans forward, his pen hovering over his notepad. Oh, from socialites to service staff, she managed to offend everyone equally. I shake my head, memories flooding back. Hell, even Nyla had to deal with her when she worked as our maid. Nyla? Morrison's eyebrows shoot up. The same Nyla Thomas who just became interim CEO? The one who has been repeatedly photographed with Ivan Sokolov's daughter? That has nothing to do with this, I snap, instantly regretting bringing her up. What kind of relationship did they have? Morrison's eyes narrow with interest. Look, my mother was difficult. She treated the staff poorly, Nyla included. I keep my voice level. But Nyla's not involved in this. She was with me the night it happened. All night? Morrison asks pointedly. Yes, all night. I meet his gaze steadily. We were together at my place. She's not your suspect. I see. Morrison makes a note, though his expression suggests he's filing this away for later. And you can verify her whereabouts the entire time? Yes. The lie tastes bitter on my tongue. I remember waking to cold sheets, Nyla gone without explanation, but I pushed the doubt away. We were together until morning. You're certain about that timeline? Absolutely. I meet his skeptical gaze steadily, though guilt churns in my gut. Nyla had nothing to do with this. Focus on the real killers. Morrison makes a non-committal noise, but I see the suspicion in his eyes. I've just complicated his investigation by lying to protect Nyla. I pray I haven't made a terrible mistake. Well, thank you, Mr. Stone. You've been very helpful, Morrison says, gathering his files. We'll keep you updated on any developments. My fingers drum against the desk, barely containing my restless energy. Just make sure you're thorough. I want these bastards to pay when this goes to trial. If we catch them, Morrison reminds me gently. When? I correct him, my voice sharp as steel. When you catch them. Morrison pauses at the door. Mr. Stone, I know you're hurting, but please let us do our jobs. Don't take matters into your own hands. I force a reassuring smile. Of course not. That would be illegal. Once he's gone, I pull out my phone and start making calls. The police can follow their procedures and protocols, but I have other resources at my disposal. Private investigators, security firms, former military contractors. I need everything you can find on the Sokolov's operations, I tell my first contact. No restrictions on methods, whatever it takes. I'll play nice with the official investigation, but behind the scenes, I'm building my own network to hunt these killers down. They thought they could get away with murdering my parents. They're about to learn how wrong they were. The guilty will face justice, one way or another. I just have to be patient and careful until the perfect moment arrives. The evidence confirms what I already knew. This was a calculated hit. Now I just need to prove who ordered it. You think you can catch me? You think you can tame me?
Oh, I know I can. And you know it too, baby.
I gotta tell you, you're not the first to try.
But don't worry, baby. I'll be the last.
With sass like that, maybe I'll be the one that needs to tame you.
Let's cut to the chase, big boy. What you selling me?
Your appetite is big AF. I have just the thing that'll satisfy you.
Oh, really? And what's that?
Over 120 hours of romance audiobooks. Brought to you by Nyla Walker Romances in the Big AF audio bundle.
120 hours? That sounds amazing.
Your knees won't work afterwards if I do my job right.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Well, I can keep this promise. Because these audiobooks are unabridged with all the spicy scenes that will make you put your earbuds on. You know, Nyla can get freaky because she marked the bundle down by 69% for a limited time.
I can't wait to take this bundle for a ride.
Visit TylaWalker.com and get this audio bundle. Just don't start listening if you're going to be cooking dinner. Because you might just forget to feed your family.
TylaWalker.com. Escape your life with Nyla.
Chapter 2, 191. Jacob. I pause in the doorway of my old office, my breath catching at the sight of Nyla behind my desk. She's absorbed in paperwork, her graceful fingers flying across the keyboard. The space feels different now, her personal touch is already visible in the fresh flowers and reorganized shelves. Sorry to interrupt, I say, my voice rougher than intended. Nyla startles, nearly knocking over her coffee. Jacob, I didn't hear you come in. She straightens, smoothing her blazer. Just catching up on some board reports. Did you need something? The room suddenly feels claustrophobic. I rub the back of my neck, trying to ease the tension there. Yeah, actually. Wanted your thoughts on something about the investigation. Of course. Nyla gestures to the chair across from her, my old chair. What's on your mind? I remain standing, unable to sit in the visitor's seat of my own damn office. The police think it wasn't an accident. The brake lines were tampered with. God, Jacob, that's horrible. Nyla rises from behind my desk, her heels clicking against the hardwood as she comes around to face me. Are they keeping tabs on the Sokolovs? Marcus? I lean against the doorframe, studying her face. Yeah, I told the cops everything I knew about them. Nyla watches me as my mind reels. Jacob, what are you thinking about? The detective's warning about jumping to conclusions echoes in my mind. I shake my head. I've been so focused on Marcus being the mastermind, I might have missed something obvious. What do you mean? Nyla's dark eyes search mine with concern. I don't know. My fingers drum against the wood. Just wondering if there's someone else we haven't considered. Who else could it be? She places a gentle hand on my arm. The touch burns through my shirt sleeve. I shake my head, pushing away the absurd thought trying to form. The timing of her disappearance from my bed that night means nothing. This is Nyla. The woman who fought beside me against Marcus, who saved my life. The woman I love. The Sokolovs make the most sense, I say finally. They're sending a message. We'll figure this out together. Nyla squeezes my arm. I'm here for you, whatever you need. I nod, but something nags at the back of my mind. The empty bed, The convenient alibi, her relationship with both Marcus and Anastasia. No. I refuse to let paranoia poison what we have. The real enemies are out there. Not in this room. Thanks, I manage. I should let you get back to work. A cheerful voice breaks through our tense conversation. Mr. Stone, what a surprise seeing you here. I turn to find Linda, my former assistant, beaming at us from the doorway. Her familiar presence hits me with a wave of nostalgia. Linda, how's the new department treating you? I manage a genuine smile. Can't complain, though I miss our morning coffee debates about proper email etiquette. She winks at Nyla. Has he told you about the time he accidentally replied all to the entire board with just a cat emoji? No way! Nyla's laugh rings through the office. Please tell me there's evidence. Don't you dare, I warn. But I'm grinning despite myself. For a moment it feels like old times. Before the poisoning, before my parents' death, before everything went sideways. But as Linda chatters with Nyla about upcoming meetings and reports, reality crashes back. This isn't my office anymore. I'm the visitor now, while Nyla sits behind my desk making decisions that used to be mine. My mother's voice echoes in my head. That girl's been plotting her way to the top since day one. I grip the doorframe harder, forcing the thought away. This is grief talking, making me paranoid. Nyla fought beside me against Marcus, saved my life, loves me. She didn't ask for this position, the board appointed her. I should let you two catch up, I say, cutting through their conversation. Got a meeting with the investigators anyway. As I leave, I hear Linda complimenting Nyla's new office decor. I quicken my pace, desperate to outrun these poisonous doubts before they consume me completely. I nearly collide with Julia as I hurry from my old office, my mind churning with dark thoughts. Jake, I've been looking everywhere for you. Julia grabs my arm, her face tight with concern. The investigators just called. They confirmed it was murder. Yeah, I know. My eyes drift back through the doorway where Nyla sits at my desk, laughing with Linda about something. The sight twists my gut. They told me about the brake lines. They're asking about rival hospital groups, competitors Dad might have crossed. Julia lowers her voice. But honestly, the way they were questioning me, I think they suspected someone closer to home. I watch as Nyla picks up my old nameplate, studying it before setting it aside. The casual gesture sends an irrational surge of anger through me. Jake? Are you even listening? Sorry, just... I rub my temples. A horrible thought takes root. What if Nyla never actually turned against Marcus? What if this was their plan all along? Get her into position while eliminating obstacles. You look terrible. Julia squeezes my arm. When's the last time you slept? I need to go lie down. I pull away from her grip. I'm starting to think crazy things. What kind of things? Nothing. Just paranoia getting to me. I force a tight smile. Call me if the investigators reach out again. As I walk away, my mother's warnings about Nyla echo in my head. I tell myself I'm being ridiculous. Grief and exhaustion twisting my thoughts. But the seed of doubt has been planted, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm missing something obvious.
Chapter 2, 192. Nyla. I smooth down my black dress, checking my reflection one last time. The dark circles under my eyes betray nights of restless sleep, worrying about Jacob. My heart aches knowing how much pain he's in. The town car pulls up right on time. Julia slides in first, her young face drawn with grief. Jacob follows, barely acknowledging my presence. The silence weighs heavy as we drive through the city streets towards St. Andrews. There's quite a crowd, Julia murmurs as we approach the church. News vans line the curb, reporters held back by security. Inside, the pews overflow with mourners, board members, hospital staff. society figures. I reach for Jacob's hand as we walk down the aisle, but he pulls away, his jaw tight. The rejection stings, but I force myself to remember his world has been shattered. Please, I whisper, touching his arm gently. Let me help you through this. For a moment, his eyes soften as they meet mine. A glimpse of my Jacob, buried beneath layers of grief and suspicion. Jacob pulls away, his shoulders tense beneath his black suit. I can't let you get caught in the crossfire, not after what they did to my parents. I'm already involved. My voice rises with frustration. The Sokolovs killed your parents to send a message. What makes you think I'm any safer alone? Exactly why we need distance. He rakes his fingers through his hair. If anything happened to you because of me, stop trying to be noble. I grab his arm, forcing him to look at me. I don't need you to save me. I need you to let me help you through this. Nyla, his voice cracks. They're ruthless. You saw what they did to the brake lines. And you think pushing me away protects me? I step closer, my hand sliding down to grasp his. If they want to hurt me to get to you, they will. At least together we're stronger. Jacob's jaw clenches as he stares down at our joined hands. The church organ starts playing softly in the background, a haunting melody that matches the tension between us. I can't lose you too, he whispers. Then don't push me away. I squeeze his hand. Whatever comes next, we face it together. His eyes meet mine, tormented but softening. For a moment, I see his walls crumbling. Julia appears at our side, clearing her throat to let us know she is there. Jacob, the governor and his wife just arrived. We should greet them. I release Jacob's hand reluctantly as Julia leads him away. The crowd parts easily for them, everyone eager to offer condolences to the grieving Stone siblings. Miss Thomas. A distinguished older woman in pearls touches my arm. Such a tragedy. You've been handling the interim CEO position admirably during this difficult time. Thank you, Mrs. Bradford. I recognize her as one of our major donors. The transition has been challenging for everyone. You're exactly what the hospital needs right now. Fresh perspective, steady leadership. She squeezes my hand. William would have approved. Across the room, Jacob shakes hands mechanically with a cluster of politicians. His shoulders are rigid under his tailored suit. Miss Thomas, Dr. Chen, head of neurology, approaches next. My deepest sympathies. The board made the right choice putting you in charge temporarily. I appreciate the vote of confidence. The words taste bitter in my mouth. This isn't how I wanted to gain influence, through Jacob's devastating loss. More mourners stopped to offer condolences, treating me like family rather than an outsider. The attention makes my skin crawl. I catch Jacob watching me as he moves through the crowd. I can't help but wonder if he resents my rising prominence in his parents' absence. You're doing great, Julia whispers, appearing briefly at my side. Just keep smiling and thanking everyone. It's what Mom would have expected. I nod, though my heart aches. This isn't the path I wanted to power. But for now, I must play my part in this somber performance. I catch up to Jacob as he moves through the crowd of mourners. His broad shoulders tense beneath his tailored suit. My heart aches seeing him like this, a shell of the confident man I know. As he finishes his rounds, I see the defeat and sadness in his eyes. We'll get through this together, I say, reaching for his hand. The skin-to-skin contact sends familiar sparks through me, but his fingers remain limp in mine. His eyes, usually so warm when they meet mine, stay fixed on some distant point. I need to handle this my own way. By shutting everyone out? That's not handling it, that's hiding. I step closer, lowering my voice. Talk to me, please. What's there to say? His jaw clenches. They murdered my parents. Words won't bring them back. No, but carrying this alone will destroy you. I squeeze his hand. Let me help shoulder some of this weight. But he's already pulling back, rebuilding those walls I worked so hard to break down. I should check on the priest, he mutters, extracting his hand from mine. I watch him disappear into the crowd, my heart heavy. If this is all an act to shield me, he's doing a damn good job of making it feel real. For now, all I can do is trust that somewhere beneath that armor, the man I love still exists. With a sad smile, I give him the space he seems to desperately need. But I won't give up on him. Not now. Not ever. I stare at Jacob's retreating back, my fingers curling into fists at my sides. Julia appears beside me, laying a gentle hand on my shoulder. He just needs time, she says softly. You know how he gets when he's hurting. Time? I turn to face her, my voice catching. That's all we ever seem to give each other. Time and space and distance. When do we actually get to be together? Julia's young face creases with sympathy. He's trying to protect you. By pushing me away? Again? I shake my head, watching Jacob disappear into the crowd of mourners. We've been here before. Every time things get hard, one of us pulls away while the other fights to hold on. I'm tired of this dance. This is different, Julia insists. He's lost both our parents, and I want to help him through that, my voice cracks. But he won't let me in, just like I pushed him away when Marcus betrayed me. We're never in sync. Give him time. I know. I wrap my arms around myself, suddenly cold despite the warm church air. But what if time isn't enough anymore? What if we keep missing each other, circling but never connecting? Julia squeezes my hand. You love each other. That has to count for something. Love isn't always enough. I blink back tears, watching Jacob stand alone by his parents' caskets. Sometimes I wonder if we're just destined to keep hurting each other, over and over, until there's nothing left to save.
You won't know what hit you, baby. I'm going to take you, break you, and make you mine. And when I'm done, you're...
Now hold on just a minute.
What?
I got something to say.
What's the meaning of this?
Now you may be some fine-looking white boy.
Got that right, baby. It takes hard work.
And you might got the money.
Fat stacks, baby, to spoil you with.
But that doesn't mean I'm going to give it up to you without a fight.
A fight?
You want some limp wilting flowers? Go to historical romance, baby. But you want sassy and spicy strong black queens that tame their alpha male bad boys?
I think our listeners do.
Then you go on and look at Miss Tyla's Bougie Brides and Billionaires audio bundle.
50 hours of me whispering the most romantic things in your ears. Fake marriages, alpha male billionaires, strong black women, steamy scenes that will make your eyes roll back. And everything wrapped up in a happily ever after that will put you in an afterglow.
Use code SAVE40 to get 40% off this bundle and any other digital product in Miss Tyla's store.
Unabridged and uncut.
Just like you?
You're gonna have to find out.
Tyla Walker Romances. Escape your life with sassy romance.
Chapter 2, 193. Trixa. I stride into the church on Daddy's arm, my Louboutins clicking purposefully against the wooden floor. The satisfying wave of shocked gasps that ripples through the pews makes my lips curve into a small smile. Is that Marcus Swan? But he's supposed to be dead. The nerve of her showing up here? I keep my chin high, drinking in their scandalized reactions. Poor little Nyla looks like she's about to burst a blood vessel, while Jacob's jaw clenches so tight I worry he'll crack a tooth. Good. Let them squirm. Quite the entrance, darling, Daddy murmurs, patting my hand. Though perhaps we should have waited for a less somber occasion. Please, as if Hilda would have wanted it any other way. I adjust my Chanel suit jacket. She lived for drama. We slide into a pew near the back, maintaining a respectful distance while still being perfectly visible. The whispering continues, growing more fevered by the second. I catch fragments of speculation about why we're here, where we've been, what we're planning. Did you see Jacob's face? I whisper to Daddy. He looks ready to commit murder right here in the church. Focus, Trixa. We're here to pay our respects, not antagonize anyone. But I catch the slight upturn of his lips. He's enjoying this theatrical return just as much as I am. Of course, Daddy. I demurely bow my head, the picture of contrition. But inside, triumph blooms. Our dramatic reappearance has achieved exactly the impact we wanted. The game is officially on. I spot Caroline Montgomery by the flower arrangements and sashay over, ready to reclaim my place in society. After all, we used to get mani-pedis together every Thursday. Caroline, darling, it's been ages. I lean in for air kisses, but she steps back. Trixa. Her voice could freeze hell. I heard you were in Switzerland, dying. A miraculous recovery. I flash my most winning smile. The Swiss doctors are incredible. She examines her nails. Well, I should find my husband. Before I can respond, she's gone, leaving me alone with the lilies. Fine. I scan the room and catch Bethany Richardson's eye. She at least manages a weak smile. How are you feeling? She asks, genuine concern in her voice. We were all so worried when we heard about your diagnosis. Much better, thank you. Finally, someone treating me like a human being. That's wonderful. Oh, I see James waving. Excuse me. And just like that, she's gone too. I watch her join a cluster of women who immediately begin whispering behind their hands. The prodigal princess returns, drawls George Wellington, appearing at my elbow. Though I must say, your timing is questionable. I came to pay my respect and... Of course you did. His tone drips with sarcasm. Nothing to do with Marcus Swan's mysterious resurrection. I keep my smile fixed firmly in place as he walks away. These people used to beg for invitations to my parties. Now they treat me like I have the plague. Still causing trouble, I see, says Margaret Chen, passing by without stopping. Some things never change. I lift my chin higher, refusing to let them see me crack. Let them gossip and sneer. I'm still Trixa Swan, and I've got bigger plans than their petty social circles. Trixa, Julia's voice rings out across the church, a welcome sound amid the hostile whispers. She hurries over, wrapping me in a warm embrace that nearly brings tears to my eyes. I quickly blink them away. Daddy always says crying ruins designer mascara. How are you holding up, I ask, genuinely concerned. Julia's always been the only stone who saw past my difficult personality. Managing. Julia pulls back, her smile tired but sincere. I heard you made quite the recovery in Switzerland. Medical miracles happen every day. I adjust my Cartier bracelet. I hear congratulations are in order. Youngest board member in stone history? Yeah, Mom's seat. Julia's voice catches slightly. It's going well, though. Nyla's doing an amazing job as interim CEO. I can't stop the scoff that escapes my lips. Interim CEO? Well, well. That little upstart finally got what she wanted. Julia's warm expression cools several degrees. Really? The jealousy thing is getting old, Trixa. Shame washes over me. Here's the one person treating me like a human being, and I'm falling right back into my worst habits. I'm sorry. I touch her arm gently. I truly am, and I'm so sorry about your parents. Despite everything, Hilda and William didn't deserve this. My gaze drifts past Julia to where Jacob stands alone, looking haunted. The sight of him, so different from the vital, commanding man I once knew, makes my chest ache. Give your brother my condolences, too, I murmur. I mean that sincerely. I'll let Jacob know, Julia says softly. And thanks for coming, despite everything. It means something. I watch her disappear into the crowd before making my way back to Daddy. He sits rigidly in our isolated pew, staring straight ahead as if the whispers and stares don't exist. I slide in beside him, smoothing my skirt with trembling hands. "Quite the turnout," I murmur, desperately trying to maintain my usual blasé tone. "Though the flowers are garish. Hilda would have hated them." Daddy doesn't respond. He's lost in whatever schemes and plots occupy his brilliant mind. I wish I had his ability to tune out the hostile glances, the pointed way people are giving our pew a wide berth. Mrs. Henderson walks by, clutching her pearls like I might snatch them. The same woman who used to beg me to chair her charity galas now acts like I'm carrying the plague. "Remember when she cornered us at the Met Gala trying to get funding for her foundation?" I say to Daddy, forcing a laugh. "Now she can't get away fast enough." Still nothing. I fall silent, the weight of our isolation pressing down on me. Is this what I traded my life for? Revenge seemed so deliciously worth it when we were plotting in Brooklyn. Now, watching my former friends huddle together and whisper, I'm not so sure. My carefully constructed confidence wavers. One tear escapes before I can stop it. I quickly dab it away, praying no one noticed this crack in my armor. But the truth hits hard. I've burned every bridge leading back to my old life, all for vengeance that suddenly feels hollow.
Chapter 294. Jacob. My muscles coil tight as Marcus saunters into my parents' funeral like he owns the place. The bastard who orchestrated their murder sitting here in their church. My vision narrows to a red tunnel focused solely on him. "Let go!" I growl at Alexander, trying to shake off his iron grip on my shoulder. "Think about Julia," Alexander whispers urgently. "About Nyla. They need you here, not in jail for assault." I clench my jaw so hard my teeth might crack. He killed my parents. And we'll make him pay. But not like this. Alexander's fingers dig deeper into my shoulder. "Your mother would want you to show dignity today." That hits home like a sucker punch. Mom always preached about maintaining appearances, even in crisis. The thought of disappointing her even now. "Fine," I mutter, forcing my hands to unclench. "But after this, we plan, carefully." Alexander's voice holds steel. No half-cocked revenge missions. I watch Marcus settle into a pew, Trixa hovering beside him like a faithful pet. My stomach churns with acid. The urge to vault over these rows and wrap my hands around his throat nearly overwhelms me. "When?" I demand through gritted teeth. "Soon, but smart." Alexander finally releases my shoulder. We only get one shot at bringing him down for good. I sink back into my seat, every muscle still trembling with restrained violence. Marcus catches my eye and has the audacity to nod slightly. "I'm going to destroy him," I whisper, more to myself than Alexander. "We will," he agrees quietly. "But first, honor your parents. That's what matters today." I exhale sharply through my nose, my hands gripping the wooden pew so hard I feel splinters digging into my palms. The urge to vault over these rows and wrap my fingers around Marcus's throat burns through my veins like acid. "Deep breaths," Alexander murmurs beside me. "Think about what your mother would say." "She'd tell me to maintain appearances," I mutter through clenched teeth. "But she's dead because of him." "We don't know that for certain yet." "The hell we don't." My voice comes out as a low growl. "Who else would orchestrate something this precise?" Marcus catches my eye and gives that slight nod again, like we're at some goddamn cocktail party. My vision blurs red at the edges. "I swear to God." "Not. Here." Alexander's grip tightens on my shoulder. "Your parents deserve better than a brawl at their funeral." The truth of his words hits me like a punch to the gut. Mom would be mortified if I caused a scene. And Dad would want me to be smarter than that. I force myself to breathe slowly, deliberately unclenching each finger from the pew. The rage still burns hot in my chest, but I contain it, bank it for later when it can serve a purpose. Nyla slides into the pew beside me, her hand finding mine. The simple touch anchors me, pulling me back from the edge of rage. "You need to breathe," she whispers. "Focus on what you want to say about them." I tear my gaze from Marcus, forcing myself to look at her instead. I can't think straight with him here. "Then don't look at him, look at me." Her fingers intertwine with mine. "Tell me about your favorite memory of your mom." A surprised laugh escapes me. "Really? Now?" "Yes, now. What's the first thing that comes to mind?" I close my eyes, letting the memory surface. She used to make these ridiculous pancakes every Sunday. Tried to shape them like animals, but they always looked like abstract art. "That's perfect." Nyla squeezes my hand. "Start with that." From the corner of my eye, I catch Marcus watching us. His expression shifts when he looks at Nyla. Something like regret crosses his face before he quickly masks it. "Your dad?" Nyla prompts, pulling my attention back. "He taught me to sail." The words come easier now. Spent an entire summer drilling knots into my head until I could tie them in my sleep. "See, you've got this." Nyla pulls a small notepad from her purse. "Write it down while it's fresh." As I scribble notes, the crushing weight in my chest eases slightly. Nyla keeps her hand in mine, a steady presence as I shape random memories into something resembling a eulogy. "They weren't perfect," I murmur, "but they were mine." "Then that's what you tell everyone." Nyla's thumb traces circles on my palm. The real them, not just the society version. I try my best to concentrate on my notes, but I keep looking at Marcus in his expensive suit. The bastard probably picked it out special for this occasion. My parents' funeral. The thought makes bile rise in my throat. "Focus on the service," Julia whispers from my other side, her small hand squeezing mine. Mom and Dad deserve that much. She's right, but it doesn't make it any easier watching Marcus sit in his pew like he belongs here. Like he didn't orchestrate their murder. "The police will handle it," Nyla says softly. I let out a harsh laugh. "The police? They can't touch him, and he knows it. That's why he's here, to rub it in my face." Marcus turns slightly, catching my eye. The slight upturn of his mouth makes my vision go red. Only Alexander's iron grip on my shoulder keeps me in my seat. "Soon," I promise under my breath, memorizing every detail of his smug expression. "You'll never see it coming, you arrogant bastard." The priest begins speaking, but I barely hear the words. All I can focus on is Marcus's perfectly groomed head, imagining all the ways I'll make him pay. This is just a temporary reprieve. Once the funeral ends, all bets are off. Marcus Swan's days of playing puppet master are not.
Hey, Phil! Well, ain't that something? No doubt this episode hit hard. Jacob finds out parents' death's a murder, and he's barely holding it together. Nyla's stepping up as interim CEO, but you can tell the pressure is eating at her. And Jacob's paranoia isn't helping. And can we talk about Marcus and Trixa waltzing into that funeral? The nerve. I'm just hoping Jacob's revenge plans are as dangerous as they're looking. Will he keep it together, or will his grief push him too far? Find out on Say Less I Love You Season 3 finale.